Evening everyone, this is Fort. Tonight I'm playing Scorn, Tier 4 Naaresh versus a big troll army full of a bunch of multi-wound infantry. My Bloodrunners in this, I guess, are going to have one single mission. That's to get the Krielstone unit. They really can't hurt much of anything else. I'm going to deploy symmetrically around the center line. As I'm deploying first, I don't want to give my opponent any heads up as to what my plans are. And Lamentation is going to be on Naaresh. Iron Flesh is going to be on the leftmost. Nihilators as part of the tier, and the Nihilators are going to get an advanced move before the game starts. All my battle group has +2 speed on turn 1. I guess we're just about ready to start.
Greetings, this is Taodark. This week I'm playing a E-Grissel list. My E-Grissel deployment is relatively standard whenever I sit down on table. Because I want to use dash to increase their speed, I'm going to put one unit of warders on one side of her and one unit of warders on the other side of her. And then when they advance up under dash, what they're going to do is kind of wrap around her, bubble wrap around her, so that she's protected from anything that might try and come to her. And then they'll just advance in that sort of bubble brick forward. Because they can space out, because with their reach, they have the ability to space out where champions have to stay clustered together, so it's not necessarily, I don't view it as a brick, more as a bubble. The support pieces like the Storm Troll and Pyre Troll go behind the warders, and then they're just going to be there to accent the warders' abilities, and then shoot over the warders whenever applicable. The Stone kind of takes a central position with Janessia, and so that those two units can provide support to either the warders or to Grissel, wherever the case might be. I'm deployed my bomber and my Felcaller on the right hand side, closest to the bottom of the screen, because with the tier list that Naaresh has, he's putting Iron Flesh on the Annihilators that are closest to the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to need to either drift AoEs onto them to get them destroyed, or I'm going to have to use the Felcaller's War Cry to increase the mat of my warder unit to so that they can actually do some damage on the Annihilators with their increased defense.
My opponent's setup's not much of a surprise. The Krielstone's in the middle, which is where I expected it. I don't like the bomber being down where he is. It's going to cut off that flank pretty good, but I guess it's better than him being in the middle where he can hit anything. The bottom Bloodrunners are going to be in a lot of danger. My leftmost Bloodrunners, they're probably going to get hurt. If he gets good deviations, they're going to be bad news. But the other Bloodrunners are relatively safe. There's not a lot of AoE up there other than his caster, and I don't think he's going to move her that far forward. Nihilators run. The bottommost Nihilators, the leftmost Nihilators have Iron Flesh, so they run a little bit slower. My Beasts have a theoretical movement of 18 inches on turn 1, as he gets +2 speed to his entire battle group, himself included. And the Archidons with speed 9 can move 18 inches. I don't think I want to do that. In fact, I'm not. They're going to park in the woods here. I'll run the Beast Handlers up after them to get everything in position for turn 2. Retaliation in case he gets really far forward. Naaresh is just going to move up and cyclone himself into a better position. The inhospitable ground is going to be a problem. I can already tell. The Nihilators are kind of my maximum hitting unit, and neither unit have a way to get Pathfinder. We'll see how it goes, though. I'm going to try to keep Lamentation up as long as I can, maybe force him not to forego casting inhospitable ground.
Troll turn 1. needless to say, I was not prepared for how fast the Scorn advanced into the zone. I've always associated Scorn with being a slow army, and I was just absolutely not prepared for this kind of advance. Activate the Rune Shaper to put Harmonious Exaltation on Grissel, but unfortunately he's out. So not only am I going to have issues with trying to get my units into position, but also get the stone filled. Usually I have 2 turns to do that, and this time I don't. So I'm already on the back foot on exactly what I'm going to do to poor positioning on the Rune Shaper. Grissel advances, and due to the fact that I can't really avoid the dash isn't going to get me much. It's going to give me 1 inch, but since the army's so close, I don't necessarily need it. I just need to get in position to absorb the attack. So she puts up inhospitable ground so that it's not necessarily going to affect the Bloodrunners, but it will affect the Annihilators. And then I just kind of go into setting up a formation. So the Warders advance up, Janessia advances up, puts a wall to give protection to the Warders since the Bloodrunners don't have reach. Just kind of set myself up for a wall on that left-hand side. The Bomber advances up, and the Bomber is going to start just chucking bombs. I know I'm not going to be able to hit the high defense of either the Annihilators or the Bloodrunners, but if I can get some lucky deviations, I can kill out some Bloodrunners and hopefully thin them out. So that's 1 less unit of Bloodrunners to deal with, and I just can focus on the Bloodrunners on the left-hand side. I need to protect Grissel because the Bloodrunners have the ability to jump around, but I need to do so in a way that won't risk anything. I actually used my stones to protect Grissel, which was probably a poor decision on my part due to the fact that the Bloodrunners have anatomical precision, and since the stones only have 1 hit point, he can thin out my aura real quickly, which doesn't help my overall game for my warders. So I'm basically just using the Bomber and then later the Pyre Troll to try and clear out the Bloodrunners. The Felcaller is on the right-hand side because I'm going to use him to activate. He's going to turn around and put Pathfinder on the second unit of Warners. Since they're not under dash, I don't want difficult terrain to slow them down even further. So they have them advance through the woods. And basically what I'm doing is I'm prepping him for next turn to advance into the woods and give the Warders the war cry so that they can deal with the Annihilators next turn with a higher mat. Here I'm advancing up the stone. There's no continuous effects. There's no incorporeal, so I'm just going to continue using the +1 strength every turn. As I mentioned, I'm wrapping Grissel around, but again, this probably was one of many bad choices that I made in this game. Pyre Troll is just activating to throw some more AoEs out on the Bloodrunners. And then I'm setting myself up. Like I said, I was not prepared for this advance, so I'm already on the back foot and kind of struggling with how I'm going to deal with so many guys coming at me so fast. Dude spam is definitely one of the weaknesses I feel of this list, and it's one that I'm going to have to address soon.
Naaresh is going to upkeep Lamentation by taking a point of damage, let Iron Flesh drop. He's just going to recast it after they move. I don't think he's going to need to camp a lot of focus. Our Fury's not going to be using a lot. Marking my Bloodrunners that failed their morale check last turn. I'm going to move them first to get them out of the way. They fail their morale check again once they get up on the hill. Got a feeling they're going to have some splaining to do when they get back to Scornopolis. Think that tyrants probably make commissars look like Gomer Pyle when it comes to dishing out discipline. They're probably Union guys anyway, just sitting up on the hill eating bologna sandwiches, drinking Coke. Paingiver Master Tormentor charges Krielstone, Threshers, does a point of damage to a whole bunch of stuff. He fails a couple tough checks in there. He did his job. Can't sprint away though. He's surrounded by warders that'll just murder him, so he's going to stay there. And I'm going to try to take out that Krielstone unit as much as possible with the unit of Bloodrunners. So with him sitting there, they can kind of get the +2 to hit bonus as long as they can see him. As long as I'm triggering Battle driven, might as well do it for everybody. So the other Master Tormentor goes in and does the same thing, does a point of damage to a whole bunch of stuff. Now here comes the Bloodrunners. That guy's going to charge. That guy's going to charge. And charge a couple of guys into the Warders. And then I really don't have much charge targets for the rest of the other two Bloodrunners, so they're going to charge into the back of their buddies. And hopefully, the back of that one buddy, hopefully that I'll get a hit with one of the other two guys so that I can teleport this guy away, the target of their charge, my friendly target, before they have to make their attacks on him. So he does a point of damage to a warder, teleports the guy that I was in jeopardy of having to kill myself. He jumps over and whacks a Krielstone dude. Next guy jumps over, whacks a Krielstone dude. Oh, that was actually his caster. Now he's on a Krielstone dude. He whacks another one. These guys are doing great. Much better than expected out of them. And that guy makes a tough check, and then we're on him again. He dies again. I think he's down to 2 or 3 guys. It's hard to tell. There's so many big trolls back in the back there. Now the Nihilators are going to run into this inhospitable ground mess, and they don't get very far. Going to try to jam up the troll bomber as best possible. Of course, he can just clear it away or just take free strikes. Not too much jeopardy, but it does make him have a little bit of activation order problems and a little bit of positioning problems, maybe. The other unit of Nihilators is going to run forward as best they can. They get like a 6-inch run. I'll move them, just to get them in position. I'm not going to put my beasts in jeopardy. They're just going to move. That one is in jeopardy, but the other ones, I'm just going to make him have to commit hard to whack them if he wants to. They're high defense, so hopefully that'll keep him alive if he comes after them. The puppies are all going to be setting around for retaliatory strikes. Naaresh is going to move over and recast Iron Flesh. Drop down to give them the right amount of fury. Beast Handlers will move forward in anticipation for next turn. And those Bloodrunners will still munch their bologna sandwiches. Next turn.
Troll turn 2. As I had feared, the Bloodrunners had gotten into the stones, had gotten into E-Grissel. So one of my main focuses this turn is trying to clear them out to protect the stone and also to prevent when E-Grissel activates from having to deal with free strikes. I'm stuck with how am I going to get past all of these guys. The warders, lightning troll allows them to do some E-leaps. But I'm really focused on how I'm going to clear things out. I activate the stone. Since the stones aren't too shabby in melee, I use them to try and clear out some of the warders, going for the +1 strength again. Unfortunately, there's a pair of warders that are mixed in there that are just a pain to get rid of. So I'm going to end up spending a lot of time focusing on that, and it probably hurt me more than anything else. The Pyre Troll goes in. He tries to go after the Bloodrunners too, but he has to boost 2 hits, and one of which missed in order to actually kill one of the Bloodrunners. So there's still another one still in there, right next to E-Grissel. The Felcaller is going to activate. I'm basically taking a break from trying to deal with the Bloodrunners to come over to the right hand side. I use the Felcaller spray on the Nihilators to try and clear them out. I'm trying to free up the bomber from having to deal with free strikes. Unfortunately, the iron-fleshed Annihilators are just too high defense for the spray to actually hit any of them, do anything. The Impaler activates, or I was going to activate the Impaler to throw at the Annihilators, but I decided not to because the in-melee bonus would just mean that they would be really impossible to hit. So basically what I'm doing with the bombers is I'm contemplating about trampling to trample over, avoid the free strikes and get further in, and then potentially buy some attacks on those Annihilators further back. But I come to the realization of I can't get through the woods. So this is just an advocate. Don't move your base until you've committed to what you're doing. so I used the proxy base to confirm. I took a little bit of damage from the free strike. I was just going to have to eat a free strike. There was no way around it, but at least freed me up so that he can toss his bombs. Measuring to make sure that I can see through the woods. I've got my 3 inches. Targeting the center annihilator. I'm just, again, it's kind of like last turn. I'm using the deviations to potentially kill out the lower armored annihilators. And it's almost ironic that as a troll player, I suffer against an army who has better tough rolls than myself. I only managed to kill one of the annihilators. It's kind of put me in another situation where I'm like, okay, well, this plan's going south real quick, but I decide to throw another barrel over targeting the knockdown annihilator to help me hit. But unfortunately, he's spaced out enough that all I'm going to do is hit him. And he manages to tough again. That'll be a running theme for the rest of this game. I'm just really struggling with how I'm going to deal with all these guys. I had a good turn of events that the other Bloodrunners ran, but with the Bloodrunners and the solo stuck in with Janessia, or I'm sorry, not Janessia, Grissel and the Warders, just really kind of stuck with how am I going to unjam all of these high defense pieces. So I activate the Warders, just trying to push into the zone. If I don't get into that zone, if I don't clear out that zone and get something in there, the next turn he could potentially kill the objective and dominate the zone, getting him 3 control points. So I definitely need to get something into the zone to at least contest it. But I'm still focused on trying to free up Grissel, so that she might potentially do some of her shooting attacks to clear out some of these annihilators. I'm going to need boosts to get past a lot of these high defenses. So the Warders activate, and I do manage to get some attacks and killing some of the guys, but it's unfortunately without the Electro Leaps or some way of increasing attacks. Weapons Master attacks kill things, don't get me wrong, but you're not getting a lot of things dead. And with all these guys, it's definitely an issue. Grissel turns around, activates. She has to take a free strike. I have no option at this point. I need to free her up. So she takes a little bit of damage, and I just kind of set myself up to hopefully do something with her shooting attacks. I was going to put Far Strike on myself, but I got into Lamentation range, which is why the Scorn player was measuring Lamentation, or measuring his control range. So not going to be able to get Far Strike. I was hoping that if I could get Far Strike out, I might be able to actually reach the backfield, put some damage either on the Reptile Hounds or put some damage on Naaresh himself, since he was only, I believe he was only sitting on 2 at that turn. So I pull out a spray, targeting some of the annihilators, trying to clear out the space to get my other unit of warders into the zone. So I'm confirming with my opponent, what are the defenses of these things. Again, I'm running to a situation where because I'm getting jammed up, I have to take free strikes. But in this situation, I actually wanted to take the free strike. That first lead one took a free strike from the Reach Scorn solo, and that was actually intentional because I hadn't suffered from any damage in the prior turn. And I wanted to make sure that Battle Driven had triggered so that I was going to be at Strength 2, or Strength 12, I'm going to be at POW 12 to make sure that if I do manage to get a hit in, that armor isn't going to be an issue. So that was actually kind of a force, an intentional free strike. So here, I can't believe it happened. I dropped my tape measure. It hit the hill and just absolutely messed up the state of the table. was rather frustrated with myself, but what I ended up doing was I kind of moved everything forward, and then I confirmed with my opponent if he was okay with it, with the placement of things. You know, I can't return the table back to its perfect position prior to me dropping the tape measure, but I can at least get confirmation from my opponent that he's okay with it. So we kind of fixed things and moved forward. The warders went ahead, so now I've got 2 warders in the zone. They cleared off some of the Annihilators because these aren't the iron-fleshed Annihilators. The Chronicler go ahead and he activates. He tries to clear off he tries to do an attack on the solo to try and clear it out. It's one thing about Troll support staff. I use air quotes around support staff, is that a lot of the Troll support staff can still do a lot of work, as evident by Chronicler going up and attacking. Janessia go ahead and she advances, and I have her throw down a wall behind Grissel so that Bloodrunner can't come after her. Again, I'm focused. I'm more worried about Grissel taking it than I am the stones, and the stones should really be what I'm worried about more. Lightning Troll puts E-Leap on one of the Troll Chroniclers so that he would be immune. And then we come to the realization that in actuality my stones are base to base with each other, whereas there is a space between the Scorn models. So the leap would go to my own stones, not to the Scorn, because of the way that they're base to base with each other. So lesson learned on my part: don't E-Leap unless the target is actually closer than one of your own, because it doesn't say enemy models, it's any models. So unfortunately, I do some pretty good damage on my stones. And then another mistake on my part is I was confusing the stone having take up, not sack, which is why I had to move the stone back. I moved the stone when I shouldn't have. So yeah, that's the end of my turn.
I'll upkeep Lamentation and drop Iron Flesh. Upkeep Lamentation by cutting. That Lamentation was very good last turn. It kept him from casting Far Strike. Didn't stop him from casting Inviolable Resolve. He cast that first before he moved. That Bloodrunner that's deep striking lived. I can't believe it, and so did both of the Master Tormentors. Bloodrunner's going to get a medal if he lives. That's most likely going to be posthumously, though. Annihilators go first. They're just going to harass and annoy those water dudes. Those water dudes are like tough as nails. They're, even without having to make tough checks, they're hard to kill. Bunch of rolling, bunch of nothing. Tie up the bomber again, make him move around. The bomber has a couple of support pieces back there that keep him from doing anything. And the Union dudes up on the hill, they're not done with their bologna sandwiches yet. They're having dessert. They fail their morale checks again. Meanwhile, the other unit of Bloodrunners is doing all the heavy lifting in the army, basically. I got to get rid of some of these guys around his objective this turn. I thought about trying to kill the objective. I just don't see it as being something that I can do safely. I can't get in there and kill it and then sprint away without taking free strikes unless I get rid of those warders, and I can't get rid of those warders. They're just too hard, too tough to get rid of. Bunch of rolls. Bunch of Krielstone guys dead. I think that was the last one of them. So that's a help. Master Tormentor, he's in melee range, so he can't get away. He just got to do his thing. He'll trigger battle driven on those guys again, like a champ. Does a point of damage to everybody around him again. His inhospitable ground is just huge. It's slowing these Annihilators down so bad. Going from a 9-inch charge to a 4.5-inch charge is rough, and they can't really hurt these warders without charging at them. I guess they can tie them up. That's about all they do. I'm starting to jam myself up more than him, really. I need to keep a few charge lanes open in case he moves up and I can get some Archidons on somebody. I think I'm going to end up needing to use my Archidons and their steady, not being able to be knocked down, to block lines of sight to Naaresh this turn. I got a feeling this is going to be an assassination turn for him. He's starting to get a little thin, but so am I. I think if he's patient, he wins this. If he gets a little impatient, he's in trouble. Just moving the beast handlers and the puppies up for positioning to retaliatory strike. Anything on my next turn, anything that gets any targets of opportunity. Puppies are going to try to go in and take out a few of these warders with Slaughterhouse. Even with Slaughterhouse, they're hard to get rid of. I need to get a flank bonus on them. I think the next puppy going in should get a flank bonus on that right side warder there, right side to the puppy that's going now. Yeah, I enraged him, so here he goes. He should take the warder out. If he hits him, he's likely dead. And he should hit him with flank. So I'm attacking him in the rear with a flank bonus and boost to hit. And he's dead. Yay, one bites the dust. Those guys are just tough as nails. I think that guy's name was Lenny Dykstra. Here we go. Move puppies up. That one had to charge because he was enraged, but there was no target for him that he could reach, so he just charges off for positioning. Charges that warder on the bottom left corner of the zone. Now I'm thinking I definitely need to set myself up to try to prevent myself from being assassinated. I'm going to set on 4 focus, or 4 fury, and rely on the steady beast in front of me, the pain monger or whatever it's called, the ability where I get armor and strength for every time I take damage in a turn. That actually stacks even if I transfer the damage. So he can take a beating back there. It's much more resilient than you would think. And then my next turn is going to be a feat turn. Hopefully I'll have some beasts left alive that I can heal myself with. Yep, here he goes. Let's see. Yeah, I have to do it. I have to block the line of sight. I didn't know what his caster did, and I read on War Room between turns, and she's just got a lot of shooty. There's a lot of shooty in his army. He's got the Pyre Troll, the Bomber, her, the Far Strike dude, the what's his name? I don't know. The Spear dude. So we're going to park cozily up between these base-to-base Archidons and hopefully live. Beast Handlers will go up and take care of the Fury problems that I have. And I thought about leaving Fury on all these beasts, a little bit on all of them, so that if he kills one of them, I can get I can reave the Fury, but that didn't happen.
Trollbloods turn 3. So I spent a lot of time in the last 2 turns, and I mean a lot of time in the last 2 turns. At the start of this turn, I had probably about 20 minutes left on my clock, which I spent way too much time. So I'm looking at the scenario, I'm looking at how many guys are on the table in the zone, and the fact that his objective is still up, and came to the realization that a scenario win is just not possible. The only way I'm going to pull this out is I'm going to have to do it for a caster assassination. And with as many guys that are in the zone, it's going to have to be a ranged assassination. So I have to go up and have to free up the models that are going to do the ranged attacks. So the Felcaller activates, and he attacks the Annihilator that's currently holding the Bomber in close combat. The first one is toughed, but the second one does manage to kill him. And then the Impaler activates to put Far Strike on the Bomber, because the Bomber is close enough with Far Strike on him that he shouldn't need to move and will get the aim and bonus. I'm also going to need E-Grissel for this activation, because her knockdown gun is going to kind of be pivotal to getting past Naaresh's defense for my Dire Trolls, since their rat is so low. So I'm going to have to go ahead and activate and get some of the models that are in the way cleared. There's a warder in front of her, which is going to make movement impossible. And also, to make things worse, is that there is a reach Taskmaster that is close enough that I have to watch how I move in order to avoid free strikes. And I would like to remove that model from play. So the warders activate and do a simple advance. Really, I'm just pushing them up, trying to clear some models and potentially make a hole for Grissel to activate in. One tough, one is removed, and the other one I wasn't able to hit due to Iron Flesh. And then the last warder goes after the Taskmaster, which I wasn't able to hit either, and that was really the one I was hoping that was going to die. So I'm going to have to I'm not going to be able to just move closer in towards the bottom of the screen. I'm going to have to actually stay up near where she is in order to do her attacks. I was contemplating Far Strike, but it was confirmed that she was still in Lamentation. So what I ended up doing was just advancing up and getting line of sight onto one of the Archidons, and I'm going to use since Naaresh is abutted against the Archidons, I'm just going to use the Archidon as the target, and her AoEs will just touch Naaresh, and that's really the first one I'm going to have to lead off with is the knockdown gun. Definitely boosting the hit because I really need this one to stick for the assassination to work. So the knockdown goes off, and it's determined, we get the Naaresh, there's a Reptile Hound in front, and I have to make sure that I don't do too much damage on the Reptile Hound because the Reptile Hound has a Fury on him, and I don't want to get Naaresh any more Fury than he already has to go through and for transfers. So I'm kind of mapping out my Fury, seeing where things are and what I can boost with. I boost the damage roll on Naaresh and do an obscene amount of damage for that specific roll, which he obviously is going to transfer off. So right now I'm just kind of clearing through the transfers to see if I can get it to a point where when the bombers and the Pyre Troll activate that they won't need to worry about transfers. So just going through some of the attacks, going through buying the spray to do more damage, again trying to clear off more transfers, and then whittle him down on points. And again, I really just do not want to do any damage. So hitting Naaresh, he'd asked me what I had left. I pointed out which ranged things I still had left, but he still decided to transfer it off. And then the last Fury that I'll spend is on her 4-inch AoE, which puts down the difficult terrain. I'm not really aiming for the difficult terrain. Just again, I'm trying to clip him, trying to get more damage onto him. Any way I can. Unfortunately, the AoE deviates in such a way that Naaresh is no longer underneath the 4-inch. So I just kind of roll out the damage. I'm not really concerned with how the damage plays out, just doing it because it's there. I was really more looking to target Naaresh with it than anything else. If I had more time in a prior turn, I might have used that AoE to choke up the cluster of Annihilators, but since this turn is all about try and kill Naaresh, it's a scenario where we're going to put everything towards him. I thought I looked and I noticed that there was a space between the two Archidons, and completely forgetting that he had mentioned that his intent was to have them at base to base in his prior turn. So I moved the Pyre Troll up. I shot one of the Archidons. And I managed to get crit, so everything underneath caught fire. I got 2 6s on the hit, and we're doing damage out. And again, I'm just trying to stack that damage on Naaresh. The fire, I had hopes, like that once the fire stuck, I was really hoping that would seal the deal, but wisely my opponent sat on 1 Fury to make sure that he could transfer off the fire in the next turn, should the fire be what kills him. So here I am activating the bomber, and I'm just tossing the bombs out, trying to get more damage out onto Naaresh, using the Archnotes as the targets again. It would have been nice if I could have actually gotten the bombs on to Naaresh, but it didn't play out. Once all of this was said and done, it turned into a just I think I had gotten him down to 6 hit points left, which had he not the transfer, the fire may have been able to do it, but it was an unsuccessful assassination run.
Well, that assassination attempt left Naaresh with 1 Fury for the fire and armor 19 and 5 boxes of life left. He's going to have to cut to get his Fury back up to full, but being the painmonger he is, he likes that. His armor is 19 for the fire roll because of painmonger, and after the fire roll it goes away. But luckily the fire goes out on him, doesn't kill any other of the beasts that matter. My big problem is I'm going to have to use the beast handlers to heal as much as I can this turn, and then he's going to have to use his own Fury to heal because his beasts are so beat up that he really can't feat without knocking out several aspects even after healing. So with that in mind, I'm going to activate the beast handlers first. They're going to go forward and heal what they can, where they can. It's going to suck that I'm not going to be able to get enrage on the beast to try to finish him off, but I think he moved his caster into a position where the Archidons are going to be able to take her out if I can clear a path. I've got to get rid of like 2 guys to get in there, and I think it's quite possible. If my Bloodrunners had come back, some of those warders on the side near where they are so low on hit points they might be able to poke them enough to kill them. But of course they didn't come back again. Must be really good bologna sandwiches. So the puppies are doing their thing. Not much of a thing, but we're knocking down some guys. The Taskmaster goes again. That Taskmaster is just rough news. And the Bloodrunner, still alive in the backfield. He's going for like the Medal of Scorn Honor or something back there. I'm not sure what it is. Nihilators move up, do their thing. Going to jam the bombers and the stuff back there. Going to try to chop this warder down. I think I can get him. He's down to like 1 or 2 hit points. And with enough of those guys, I might... Yeah, I got him. There he goes. That guy really was not that important. I'm going to berserk on and whack one of my guys. This is the guy I want to hurt some. And he stays up. Doesn't go down. I got a puppy that can go after one guy. A puppy can go after another. Naaresh is going to have to try to kill something. It's going to be dicey. Just moving the beast handlers up to do what they can to heal the rest of the pups that they weren't able to heal before, or the ones that haven't already been healed. I'm not going to be able to activate Naaresh before I activate at least one of the pups. I have to get the pups out of the way. That one I can't heal far enough anyway, so he's just going to go do his thing. He's beat up really bad. Doesn't really do much. If I can clear out this one warder that's in the zone in front of my puppy right south of his objective, I get a chance to get on his caster. So the pups are going to try to do that. They're going to go in, both of them on him, and try to whack him. He free strikes it and murders it as expected. I needed to get him out of the way though. I probably should have done the one that I just moved now first, but I don't think I could have gotten him in there without a free strike. He would have gotten the flank bonus from the other guy. But now they're out of the way, and there's a path clear for the Archidon, and Naaresh is going to be able to do his thing. So here we go. He heals up a whole bunch of damage. Might as well take out that last puppy too because he's already got activated. He went from 6 health to full health from that heals, from the feet heals, and he's got 2 Archidons that are able to that are healthy enough that they can get in there and do some dirt. If I get I'm going to try to position the first one so that if I get a critical pitch, I can throw her into better spot for the second Archidon to get to. And I am going to boost Almighty hit roll just for that critical pitch thing. So Naaresh is going to go in and try to put a whooping on her. And he does a little bit here, a little bit there. He's fairly strong. He clears out the one guy that I needed to clear out, then he cyclones away. Here comes the Archidon for the kill. Boost to hit on the charge attack. I probably shouldn't have charged. I probably should have just advanced. I got the critical pitch with a roll of 5-2-2. Here comes the toss. I roll big damage on the toss. It's rolling 4 dice because she hit a same size base and is boosted. 4 dice, power strength 18. That's gonna hurt. He transfers with his 1 fury that he has on her. Hurts that bomber bad. And then he just buys an attack and kills the guy sitting next to him with his last fury. Here comes the next one in. She has no fury on her. She should be done. We'll see what happens though. Never can tell with the dice. Yep. Oh, he didn't fail. Oh, yeah, it failed the tough check. Good game. He only had 30 seconds left on his clock though, so it's probably over anyway.